Welcome to Write This Down with Maddie Birdcage. As a global marketing advisory founder, a business educator, and psychology-informed strategist with a full family life and an addiction to luxury travel, I'm here to let you into the inner workings of my businesses, my family life, and my mind to show you how to live the good life. Each episode, I promise to give you practical takeaways you can take action on right away to get you closer to being that calm, growth-focused CEO in control of your business, your marketing, and your life. So make sure you write this down. Hi everyone, welcome back to the first episode of 2026 of Write This Down with Maddie Birdcage. I have obviously been on a complete hiatus, so you guys have probably been wondering, where the hell is she? What is going on? But today's episode, it is going to catch all of you guys back up to what's going on with business, with life, with what we're focusing on in terms of our client marketing as well as our marketing. And in light of a TikTok post I put up this week that got way more attention than I probably ever expected it to, where I basically exposed myself. I dished the dirt on everything that has kind of been bubbling in my brain. I want this episode to be really in that vein. So very transparent with everything that's been going on with us, going on with me personally, going on with the business, and some exciting things that we have in the works. It's an episode that I want you to listen to if you feel like 2025 just wasn't your year, which I know is so many of you, and you feel like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Like, where am I going? What am I doing? Am I failing? Am I the only one? Because I think this is going to give you some real perspective, and I hope it does, because I've been in business for over 10 years now. This is going to be our 11th year in business, and it's been a ride. You know, I thought all of the shit times were long behind me, but if anything, I've learnt that it is a constant battle to stay in business, to be in business, personally, professionally, financially, all of those things. So I hope you guys get a lot out of this, because I am pouring my heart out. I am sharing all of the details with you. So let's do this. So the first thing I want to do is give you an update of where the business is at, what's been happening with my team, what's been happening with myself. So whether you're into astrology or not, Chinese astrology or not, you probably cannot avoid all of the year of the snake talk. That was the year that we've just had. It is not over yet. Technically, it still goes until the 16th of February. But the year of the snake, it was basically meant to be this year of shedding. And I couldn't think of a better word to describe what my last 12 months, 18 months has looked like. And don't know about you guys, but I'm so happy to put this year to rest and to start in the year of the horse, which is all about moving forward at a grand pace. So in the whole last year, I've had some pretty major staffing issues come to fruition. So some of them are just natural people moving on. Their personal priorities have changed. They no longer wanted to be an employee. They wanted to go out and start their own thing. But I had a lot of long-term, very good team members decide to leave and go and start their own business. And I struggle with that. I'm not going to pretend that I don't. First of all, because it means that, I'm another great person down, which creates a gap. But also as I said, I'm going to be really goddamn honest. I struggle because I feel like people look at what I do in terms of running an agency, running a business, managing staff, getting clients, managing clients, all of the behind the scenes stuff that employees don't see. And they decide that, oh, what she does must be so easy. I'm just going to go out and do it myself. I don't know why that affects me on a personal level so much. It probably shouldn't. And I need to remind myself, like, Maddie, it's not about you. It's about what people want in their life. And I've never been the type of person to make people want to stay if their heart is elsewhere. But I struggle with it. I struggle with it, especially when I see old team members kind of teaming up in a way and like working together. And I struggle because definitely not from a competition aspect. I really trust, especially the people that have gone and started their own thing, I really trust that they would never steal clients or do any of that kind of stuff, or even that we would be in the same competition together, because as a freelancer, you are not in competition with agencies. It's a different model, and you have different clients wanting different things. But I do feel as though if maybe I was better as a leader, better in business, I probably could have retained those people. So that's one thing that's happened. Another thing is that someone very close to me actually allegedly took a heap of my IP. And whilst they certainly deny it, it has been a really challenging situation, because the breakdown of that relationship has caused a lot of other domino effects in my personal life as well, because she was someone very close to me. It's really tough when that happens. I did pursue legal advice initially about this. I decided not to take it further because of the personal relationship there. And they still deny that any wrongdoing occurred. But the reports that I have from the Google Drives and everything like that, it clearly shows that there was some not so ethical behavior happening. And so, I mean, that rattles you, because you work so hard to, especially me, like I've worked really hard over the last 10 years to create so many systems and frameworks and ways of doing things, that for someone else to just take that and think that that's totally fine, it's not totally fine. And it goes against any employee contract that ever existed, but it's not how I would ever do business. I also had someone very important in the business and in my personal life leave very abruptly, and this is still a very fresh wound, and I'm still kind of processing what that looks like. On a business perspective, obviously an immediate departure does not reflect well with clients. And so for the last week, I've really been working hard to make sure that all of our existing clients are happy, that they feel taken care of. I have taken over the management of all their client accounts, which I completely have the time to do so, and I'm actually kind of excited to be doing it. But it's, from a business perspective, it really affects me, because I worry that we will lose clients because of something that I really didn't have control over. I still don't have a lot of clarity around that decision. I know it was definitely something that was probably on the cards for a little while, but because of the personal relationship, they would have stayed longer than maybe they wanted to, and I appreciate that. But like, these are all the unseen fuck-ups that happen. For me personally, I don't feel like I'm going backwards. I feel like if you were in this position, you could feel like you're going backwards, because I'm very much, on the ground level with things. I'm touching every single client project that we are working on. And that's what it used to be like before, probably when I first started or in the early days of business. But I'm a big believer that things really do happen the way that they are supposed to happen. And I'm supposed to be going back into client projects, seeing where things probably weren't managed as well as I would have liked them to be managed. They were still managed to a very high standard, but I felt as though because I wasn't directly involved, as a business owner, you can't help but feel like only I can do things perfectly. And that is something that needs to be, if you do want to grow and grow a team, you need to be okay with the fact that your team probably will only get to 80% of what you as the business owner can get to, but then they have other skills and other benefits that they offer that you don't have. It also means that by not doing client work, it has allowed me in the past 12 months to really focus in on other aspects of the business, making sure the content, and hence why we haven't had a big podcast presence, because it is a huge chunk of my week that goes into this. But I definitely want to make time for it again, because I find through the podcast, you guys get to learn a lot more about me, about our systems in a longer form setting. And I think that is really beneficial, because a 60-second TikTok just isn't going to cut it. Now, speaking of TikToks and platforms and all of those. So I want to take you through where my head's at in terms of what I see is happening in the digital space and where I think brands, including ourselves, are going to be focusing in on more. So for a very long time, COVID up until about now, I felt as though organic social media could really be your main driver for revenue and leads and sales in your business. That is not the case anymore, I don't believe. I think we've gone back to almost the old way of doing things when I first started the business, where ads drive top of funnel leads, and then your social media presence is about the trust building, and as much as I hate the word, it's community building. So it's not so much about, oh, this post is going to get me X amount of sales if I go viral. It can introduce people to your brand and it can result in sales, but I really feel like the engine driving sales for a lot of our clients and for us as well, even though we're not currently running any paid ads at this time, is the paid ad side of things. So meta ads are still a huge player. As much as I like to preach Google was dead a few years ago, I think it is coming back. I think they've gotten on top of the AI spam issues to a point, and I also think their AI feature is working, and I also think for the right businesses, Google ads do still work, and we are seeing strong results across e-com, across service-based as well, and it's probably where I'm going to start investing in ads as a first point of call. As always, Pinterest ads. You guys are sleeping on Pinterest ads, especially if you're a lifestyle brand, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, but I believe brands don't quite understand how Pinterest works as well as they should. When I say Pinterest ads, I'm not talking about organic Pinterest where people put a pin in their board and save your ad. Maybe they do, but it's more about the fact that when people are on Pinterest, especially if they're looking at fashion or home or travel or design or anything like that, they're already in that curation mode. They're already looking for they've asked themselves, what is it that I'm looking for right now? And so that when your ad then pops up for that, whether that's a dress that you're selling or a wellness service that you're offering, whatever it might be, they will take quicker action on that than they might through meta ads. So that's why I believe Pinterest is definitely still a place to be focusing in on your ads. TikTok ads, I'm still not convinced. TikTok, show me the data, show me the results. As far as I can tell, it's only a lot bigger brands that are advertising on TikTok. Maybe it's a spend thing. It's a very high touch platform, but I also still think organic TikTok is still a very strong platform for the right brands. Now, in terms of lifestyle brands, so this is something that Birdcage used to focus on pre-COVID. We used to be the agency for lifestyle brands, so all things pretty, home, pets, parenting, baby, travel, fashion accessories, health and wellness, hair and beauty, all of that. And I've had this little niggling feeling that I want to go back into that space. Now, I'm afraid to do that because I really love working with our consultant brands, our financial services brand, our law firm brands, the boring businesses that I've always liked to call them, but I've always had a real soft spot for them because I feel as though that kind of industry has always been told you must be professional at all times. And yet when we break free from that and we show the human behind these services, they get really strong results without a whole lot of effort. So whilst I would really like to, come out and announce, we're back to doing lifestyle brands again, I'm also nervous to do so. So I don't know, if you guys have any feedback on that, I'd love you guys to DM me and help me kind of work through it. I think the reason we work really well with lifestyle brands, we are an all-female team. We seem to have a knack of creating beautiful content, which a lot of these lifestyle brands love, but also in a way that gets them sales. And I think when males run, there's a skincare client that we're working with, for example, they really had no understanding with how to talk to women. And this was the husband of the client actually said that to me in one of our first calls together. They were working with an agency that was telling women to fix their skin. And it's like, women don't want to be told they need to fix anything. Women don't want to be told that they're broken and need to buy this to fix themselves. Women want to feel better within themselves, for themselves. They're not doing it to fix anything or to be anything to anyone else. Women's purchasing decisions are driven by especially their expanded self, who they want to be, and by having a brand that, number one, makes them feel how they want to feel, but then also does give tangible results. And this is an incredible brand, guys. It's called Windegarn Skincare, actually, and you really need to get on it. I've been using it since we started working with this brand, and I love it so much. It's incredible. We've more than halved their ad spend because they were spending quite a lot every single day and it was just draining the budgets. So in order to stop the bleeding, what we did, we more than halved their ad spend and really tried to focus on getting that ROAS stable, so getting the sales stable. And they're a really great client to work with because I did set the expectation, with us halving this ad spend, more than halving so drastically, it means that your sales figures are going to look not so good on your website. Like the arrows are all going to be down, but also your ad spend is going to be down. So as long as you're cool with that and you can look at the facts, not the feelings behind it, because everyone loves to see huge sales in their Shopify, right? But you then need to weigh it up based with, if I'm spending thousands of dollars every day on ads, you're not actually making any money. And that was something I was worried about when we agreed to take the account on, but the results that we've been getting from it, because we have been focusing more on female-focused messaging and being more cautious with how we spend with the ad account, the ROAS has actually improved. So we've actually been doing a lot better even though we have a smaller ad spend. So now I've lost my train of thought. Lifestyle brands. The reason why I really want to focus on lifestyle brands, and I'm kind of testing this thing right now, we actually have a salon right underneath me in Birdcage Studios. Now, these are hairdressers. They are the best in our area. They've been the ones doing my hair and my extensions for years now. And I should technically have no hair based on my medical issues and my lifestyle and the stress that I have been going through the last 12 months. I should have no hair, right? And yet my natural hair is healthier than it's ever been. And that's with wearing the longest extensions without a break. So these are incredible hairdressers who actually, they were clients first, and we took them from a startup where they had 0 clients when they started. They'd had a break from the industry, so they weren't bringing any clients with them, 0 clients. We took them from that to, they were going to hit $1 million year this year in a local regional salon. Now, the reason they didn't hit it is because they ended up selling their business, and I'm pretty sure they broke a record for how much they sold their business for because it was that strong. Now, they've since gone off. They are focusing in on just offering one-on-one services. They don't have the goal to grow a huge salon or even to grow any people, any apprentices underneath them. They are just doing their one-on-one services. And we have been getting them really, really booked out. Again, they couldn't take clients with them. They couldn't reach out to clients. They couldn't do any of that because obviously that's, number one, unethical, but also two, it's a legal issue. But we have been getting them booked back to back for weeks now. And that is with their social media presence basically starting from scratch because they gave away their old account. And we've really been focusing in on the ads side of things and not hugely expensive ads. But because of what we're doing, because of what we did with their initial business, now what we're doing with just their solo services, together we've kind of formulated this, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it because it's actually like so special. We've formulated this, it's a marketing funnel, right? We've formulated this paid ads funnel to a landing page that we have set up so they don't even need a website. They don't need to pay 10 grand for a website or fight with a website. All they need is a booking calendar, which most salons or clinics or any local service business, they usually have that, or it's just like a phone number where you call and book, right? So they don't need a website because we send them through to a landing page we have designed based on our conversion rate optimization research that we've done. And then we get them to take advantage of a special offer that we have put together. And this is luxury hair, guys. It's not just some cheap dead ass offer. An offer that appeals to exactly who they want to attract. And I've made them very intentional with the types of people they want to attract. and it's just been booking like crazy. And so what I want to do, I want to roll this out to all of the salons, all of the beauty clinics, all of the wellness service providers. We did a similar thing with a chiropractor a few years ago where she brought on 2 new massage therapists and a new chiropractor, and we ended up getting them fully booked within just a couple of months, even a couple of weeks, I think. They ended up firing us because they couldn't take on any more work, but I mean, that's a good problem to have, right? So it's like we seem to have this knack for local service in hair and beauty and wellness, and even any sort of appointment-based business. Even if you're a financial planner, this would work. But do you see even talking through this, I'm so secure with this lifestyle aspect of things that I'm still hesitant to let go of the professional service side of things as well. Even if you're like a garden maintenance person, I mean, home does fall under lifestyle, but it's like, even if you're a garden maintenance person, this is gonna work for you as well. And the way that we've structured the package, as I said, you don't need a website. We include the landing page for you and we do all of that. You don't even need your own ad account because we can run the ads through our ad account. You don't even need to pay the ad spend. We pay the ad spend for you because we are so confident that this works and that this is successful. So all you do is pay a flat fee every week or every month or every 3 months. Obviously, if you pay for every 3 months, there's a big cost saving there as well. And what I was speaking to one of the hairdressers this morning, and what she said is by having that funnel running, it's actually taken so much pressure off the constant need for social media posting, which I know a lot of salons and clinics, they feel like they always need to be posting socials. And some local salons even have like a full-time social media girlie in-house, which that's probably costing like 60 grand a year to do that. And that's not even ad spend on top of that. So by having the paid ads funnel working, you are lightening your load in terms of organic that needs to go out. Yeah, you still need to post, but even if they're just stories or just kind of like once or twice a week, as long as you've got a bit of a portfolio for people who see your ads to then check you out, that is all that is needed. So if you're drowning in socials, if you're drowning in organic socials, if you are needing to get more people to your business, then this simple funnel that we've created, especially in a local area, it's a fucking winner. And it changes people's lives. It changes people's lives. I know that sounds dramatic, but I get a lot of satisfaction out of that because I love seeing people's businesses thrive. And there is another element to this, because we have the hairdressers in-house who have built, sold, and worked as, hairdressing advisors in the past. They are so happy to come on board and to really mentor clients of ours in that space to help them do the same thing. So I don't know, if you're a hair salon, if you're a beauty clinic, if you're a wellness practitioner, whatever, hit me up because I have the answers you seek. Now, in terms of some other things that I've been working on, so in a similar vein, I've launched a new business called Proper. Now, that came about because of another traumatic experience from last year where we couldn't sell our investment property, which was right next to the beach. It has a self-contained studio, it had a pool, it had no neighbors, it was the biggest block, it was an older house, from 2009 maybe, or maybe 2009 I think. It was slightly older, but it was a beautiful functional 4-bedroom house plus the studio. And our agent just couldn't sell it. And this was one of the best agents in the area, right? So it should have been great. But the issue that we found was that she didn't do her due diligence in terms of checking. We promoted it as a granny flat at first because we legitimately thought that's what it was. We bought it at auction though, so we didn't actually, going back, we never actually had that documentation. So when I did the listing copy, of course I did, I listed it as a granny flat. Now, a job of an agent is actually to check that information, and she didn't. And as a result of that, we had multiple deals fall through. And then the only way that we were really going to be able to sell it was if we kept dropping the price more, and then went and sought that approval, right? And we just got to the point where her contract ran out, and it annoyed me because all she did for marketing was put a real estate listing up, which we paid for. There were probably brochures. She probably sent an email out to her list or whatever. But it was me running the paid ads behind it as well, which I know not most owners do, but then most agents aren't using paid advertising. But I know the power of paid advertising, obviously not just from the work that I do every day at Birdcage, but my husband and I, we've sold over $4.6 million worth of property, and we're in our late 30s. So I feel like we have some experience in this space. My grandmother was also one of the top agents in Sydney as a woman back in the 60s. My parents have bought and sold, I couldn't even tell you the value of their property. So I've always been in that real estate space. I've always been very aware of it. And I knew that by running ads in Sydney, we broke records for the number of realestate.com views on a listing because we ran ads. When we sold another house here in Mackay, we broke the record for the number of people attending an open home. So I know that this is super powerful. So I did it with this sale as well. And yet, whilst we were getting the leads and everything, it was just breaking down in terms of the communication. We felt like the agent was working for the buyers rather than working for us, which, I mean, that's a common complaint, but it actually goes against their standards. That's like when you do your real estate license, that you're not meant to do that. And then they just kept pushing us down on price in order to sell. And so when the contract ran out, I just thought, Jack, said to my husband, let's just try and sell it ourselves. If it doesn't work, we'll go to another top agent who's also a friend of ours. So we started running the ads and we were getting lead after lead after lead. And our old agent had it for 14 weeks. We ended up having it for 11 weeks before we had a signed contract. The contract was for more than what the agent would have ever gotten us. It was an unconditional contract, so not subject to anything. Like when it was signed, it was a done deal. And we sold it in 11 weeks rather than when the agent had it for 14. And I just looked at that and I'm like, it was so easy to sell ourselves. You literally, when you sell your own house, you have to do the maintenance anyway. You have to answer all the questions from the agent anyway, and they're just relaying it back to the buyer. You have to still hire a conveyancer or a lawyer to do your contracts. The only thing, as my dad says, the only thing the agent's doing is opening the front door and giving out the brochures that you paid for. And so I'm like, if we can just help other homeowners sell their own home for a flat fee, again, a very similar funnel to what we're actually using for our service client, our local service clients that I just spoke about. If we can just give people a flat marketing fee similar to what they're already going to be spending with a real estate listing and all of that, we help them build a landing page, we run their ads for them, we get them all the leads, then they just have to pick up the phone and talk to the leads or host an open home, which is actually so fun to do. Because we are now selling one of my parents' investment properties and we've had open homes, and I'm pretty sure we would have broken records for how many people were in there. We actually had a complaint from someone who's like, every time I turned around, someone was in my face. And it's like, well, can't help it if the property has been well marketed and people want it. So, and we also have already an offer on the property after day one. So it's, I mean, to say, if I ever had any doubt that digital marketing and the right funnel and some meta ads and a landing page and the right content, if I ever had any doubt that that stuff doesn't work, all of those doubts have been removed from the sale of our own house, from selling this house with my parents, and from the results that we've had with our beauty and hair clients as well. It's simple and effective and it works. And I think that this simplification is just another part of the shedding that we're doing. Obviously for e-commerce, there is a little bit more involved because it's not just about getting leads, it's about getting a sale. But in terms of service business, really your marketing job is very simple. You need to just understand who you're speaking to. That is first and foremost, and that happens with strategy. You need to have a message that then resonates with those people, that taps on the psychological aspects of things, which our schema profiles literally figure that out for you. You need a decent landing page, which promotes a decent offer, and you need to get it in front of the right people, which is what the ads do. That's all you have to do. All of this social media stuff, spending hours and hours every single week on your socials, it helps, but it doesn't help as much as what having just a really good funnel with paid ads will help you with. And yes, the emails come into play as well, especially if you're an e-commerce or it's a repeat business type thing, but all of that can be automated. We're setting up email automations today for a membership, an online membership client, and it's like, you set that up once and you can literally forget about it. I mean, we don't, because our job is to go back in and make sure it's performing and optimize it. But simply by having an email that's like reminder, hey, time to book another appointment, or come to another session, or refill your product, restock your product. Simply by having those things, you're already doing better than what 99% of businesses are doing that completely sleep on email. What else do I need to break down? Oh, I got one of my other dream cars. I got my Goldie. So it's a Land Rover Series 3 1978. She's old, she has no power steering. She's got a lovely patina on her paintwork. I shared that in my Instagram, so that's been super, super exciting. And we also got to spend a week on our yacht, which was like so fun in Hamilton Island, even though it completely poured down with rain for half the time. And I had a video that I just kind of did off the cuff, which has had like, I don't know, it's probably up to 3 million views by now. And what's exciting about that is that Facebook has been driving a huge portion of that. And actually I'm monetized by Facebook now, like in a very small sense, but I think I've earned like $500 from Facebook just from that reel. So, I mean, that's great. I'm not going to say no to $500. So that business as well, Birdcage Ocean Voyages, it's been a tough one to break through, mainly because we had to get the boat back into survey. So it was in survey, which means it could legally operate as a business. And my husband is one of those people that just can't do anything unless it's 100% by the books, which, I mean, in marine and yachting, that is probably perfect. But we had to spend a few $100,000 getting it back into survey. And it took longer than expected because some of the people, the suppliers, were just dog shit and they just didn't do their job properly. But we got it back into survey. It did a season with a captain that we have up in Cairns where they caught some incredible giant marlin. And then we got to have it over Christmas. Jack's done a couple of charters with it as well. So that has been a huge learning curve. We've definitely been figuring out how to simplify the process because, I mean, there's so much work that goes into having a charter yacht, not just taking people out, but the cleaning, the linen, like washing the linens, the food prep, the provisioning, the legal aspects of it, the mechanics of it. It's been such a bigger ordeal and process than I think I ever expected. But again, we even have conversations in our darker days where we're like, let's just fucking sell this thing. It's so much work. But then I keep reminding Jack that we've actually done the hard yards. Like, why would you stop when you've already climbed the mountain and you just have a little hill to stroll up now? Why would you stop? Just because you've got like 100 meters to go on a little hill, you've just scaled the face of the cliff. So you wouldn't stop, right? You wouldn't turn back now. But it's like so many things have been coming together, have been compounding, launching new businesses, dealing with staff issues, dealing with we've had a client drop off recently, which has kind of broken my heart a bit because she left because her metrics weren't favorable. When I pulled the reports, the metrics were favorable, and it's a whole story. But anyway, these are just all the normal things that you deal with in business every single day. But I think that business owners today, they're probably a little bit softer than what they used to be. And I think because of the internet, we just have so much ease of access. Like, you just launch a social media page and you put up some free content and you can get clients, right? Technically, that's how it works. Back in the day, you used to have to go door knocking. No one's going door knocking. No one's even cold calling. I'm certainly not. So when things start to get tough, and then we see other people posting their highlights online, and we're like, why am I the only one struggling? That's actually not reality. And in one of the posts I did recently, I said, like, sometimes I do get comparisonitis when I see, especially younger agency owners that I have big teams and big, beautiful spaces, and they're in Sydney or Melbourne while I'm in regional Queensland here. And I think to myself, why are they finding it so easy? But then number one, they're not going to share the shit part. Number two, business goes up and down. And even though they might be up right now, challenges will come to them again, and it will make them better, because that's what it's made me. And so all we really need to do is just keep fucking going. Not just keep going and be like, oh, everything's so hard. And, you know, I can even admit I've been in a bit of victim mentality lately. I've been a bit flat. I've been a bit, you know, oh, everything keeps happening. But it's like, if you just reposition it to see that life happens for you, not to you. And if you see it from you know, even with the house sale, that was like 8 months where we couldn't sell a house that was sitting empty, that was costing us $6,000 a month to hold that, because we'd gotten rid of the tenants to sell it. We're paying staging fees, we're paying the new marketing fees, we're doing all of those things. Even that, those lemons, because I've had the right mindset, I've turned it into opportunity, and I've turned it into potential success. I mean, it's still in its very startup stages proper, but I know that when we sell my parents' house for an amazing result through this method, I know that more people are going to jump on board. If you are looking at selling your own house in Australia and you want to talk to me about what we can do for you, we have basically we're going to give you our top package, which is normally around $7,000. We're going to give that to you for the medium package, which I think is around $4,000. And it just means we're going to do everything for you as much as we can, rather than having you update your own listing and doing all of that. So talk to me about that, because I would love to have some more amazing case studies on our books for proper, so we can grow that. That's a huge passion project. If you are a hair and beauty business or a wellness business, make sure you reach out to me about the new funnels that we are creating for those brands. And yeah, I don't know, maybe if you're a professional service business, let me know if you think if I were to push into lifestyle more, do you think that's a wrong call? I don't know. I can't figure it out yet. I'm nervous. I'm scared to really niche down. So yeah, I'd love some feedback from you guys. I'd also love to know, what would you like me to focus these episodes on moving forward? I know this has been a bit of a brain dump episode. I hope you got enough out of it. I hope you maybe got a reality check out of it, that things aren't so shiny over here. And maybe that's my fault for not sharing that more. I just didn't think people wanted to hear it. But yeah, this has been like a journaling session for me. So make sure you connect with me. Make sure you let me know that you've listened and what you thought of everything. If you think that I'm being batshit crazy, tell me that as well. I want to know, I want to get feedback from you. You guys are like my partners in this. So I hope you have a great week. I will hopefully be back next week, unless some other fucking catastrophe hits the fan and it interrupts my recording session. But I promise I will try to show up for you guys every single week on podcast and on YouTube as well. Bye-bye.